Okay, hi everybody. First of all, I just need to say I have got a bit of a cold, so that's why I'm a little bit croaky perhaps, and might need a cough break, but hopefully it will be fine. I just want to point out right at the beginning, I'm Dr. Mary Jane Budd, but I'm not a medical doctor. I have a PhD and I'm a psychologist. So just to reinforce that. And I'm a psychologist and coach. So I use my psychology background and training in my coaching to support people through well-being issues and performance issues. And under that comes my work with perimenopause and menopause. So as a psychologist, I tend to focus on more of the psychological symptoms of menopause, things like anxiety and things associated with brain fog, low mood, low confidence, those sort of aspects. But today we're going to talk about sleep, and sleep has a big impact on our lives, whether we have good sleep or bad sleep. And just to throw a pretty shocking statistic at you, 84% of women going through perimenopause complain about having disrupted sleep. So I'm assuming that most of you are here because you are having issues with your sleep. So just to say right at the beginning, you're not alone. 84% is a big amount of people. So what I'm going to talk to you today is really just tell you why we need sleep. There's lots of different aspects to that, and why perimenopause menopause affects sleep. And then I'm just going to give you a few pointers, I suppose, in order to try out some different things, maybe form some new habits in order to try and improve your sleep. And what I like to do is to get people to take away some form of action. So when I'm coaching, I set people homework and people have to go away and try things out. And the same with this. I'd like you to maybe at the end write down 2 or 3 things that you're going to try. And of course, we'll have time for questions at the end as well. So why do we need this sort of magic number of hours sleep? They've spread the range of suggested number of hours, because it used to be 7 to 8 hours sleep, and they realized that people actually are individuals, and therefore some people need less sleep and some people more sleep. So we're looking now around 6 to 9 hours sleep. If we have a good night's sleep, we feel better the next day, we feel fresher, we feel more able to focus and concentrate. And this is because the brain uses sleep to try and consolidate the experiences, the memories, lay down memories, and the learnings from each day. Sleep helps us to be creative. So if we wake up in the morning, we've sort of sorted out all those experiences from the previous day. Think of it a little bit like a filing system. We file away things. We file away memories. We file away concepts and things that we've learned in order to use them in the future. And in order to be creative, we need that sort of clarity. We need some space, don't we? We also need space to solve problems. And I'm sure we've all experienced that, waking up in the morning and suddenly the solution comes to us of something that we were thinking about maybe the previous day or days. So again, with that space, we can start being able to find solutions more easily. So if we're not getting enough sleep, then the opposite happens. We find it difficult to be creative. We find it difficult to find solutions to things. We go round and round in circles because there's not that space in order to be able to think through things. Sleep also helps us to regulate emotions. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you tend to be more irritable. Obviously, tiredness plays into how we're thinking, how we're focusing, how we're concentrating. And we get more sort of negative emotions, maybe get a bit more tearful, a bit more sad, or find it more difficult to get out of those sort of negative emotional states. And then sleep also helps our immune system. So again, with the brain consolidating the information from previous days, our bodies do the same thing. Our bodies repair overnight and boost that immune system. So if we're not getting enough sleep, then we're going to find it harder to fight infection. We're going to find that we're getting more colds. We're getting more. We're more susceptible to things. Maybe not getting over things as quickly. And then the thing that actually really surprised me when I read about this, I only learned this in the last sort of couple of years, actually, that sleep helps to control our hunger hormones. So one of our hormones, ghrelin, tells us when we're hungry, and then leptin tells us when you're full. And if we don't get enough sleep, this raises the level of ghrelin. So this raises the hormone that's telling us that we're hungry, and reduces the hormone that tells us when we're full. And this doesn't happen overnight. This is talking about the next day as well. So inevitably, this can lead to weight gain, and it's something that many women find during the perimenopause, menopause stage in their life, is they start gaining weight, and the disrupted sleep is one of the reasons for that. So that to me was one of those things that was like, wow, this is really impactful. So if we're not getting enough sleep, it's really having an effect on the next day. But if we're not getting enough sleep, sort of many days, then there's a cumulative effect. And it's no wonder that we're struggling with our day-to-day sort of life, and affecting our work life as well as our relationships with perhaps our partners, with our family, and our children. And it also affects relationships with friends, because you're feeling tired. You're not going to want to connect with them and maybe meet up with them. So it has quite a big impact. And I'm sure you're all aware of that. And that's one of the reasons why you're on this session today. So why do we get like this during perimenopause? Well, remembering that perimenopause is the stage leading up to when your periods stop. And when your periods stop, you're considered going through menopause. And this is because our hormones, our three main hormones, reproductive hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, are depleted enough that we stop having periods. But the time before that, perimenopause, our hormones are doing all sorts of fluctuations. So you might find that you have periods where you're not sleeping very well, and then other times you go back to your normal sleep patterns. But as time goes on, as those hormones drop, you might find you're getting more sleep problems. The depletion in estrogen affects the sort of more psychological symptoms. It has an effect on the brain. Remember, estrogen is this messenger from a hormone is just a messenger from one organ to another, and women have estrogen receptors in every organ in their body. So that includes the brain. So estrogen has a big function in the neurotransmitters in your brain. So we experience these symptoms such as memory and concentration issues and attention problems. The depletion in estrogen is also having an effect on the physiological symptoms of menopause, things like the night sweats. And this can be just getting hot at night. but even that can really interrupt your sleep. So you wake up, you're hot, you take your duvet off, and then you fall back to sleep, and then you get cold, so you have to put the duvet back on, and this can happen many times a night. But if you've experienced night sweats, you know that that's more than just getting hot at night. That's actually flooding the bed with sweat. So a lot of people have to get up in the middle of the night and actually change their sheets. So it does have a very big disruption to your nights. Depletion in progesterone, or the fluctuation in progesterone, will cause low mood, a feeling of being less relaxed, and increases anxiety. Progesterone is this hormone in our bodies that really calms us. So if we haven't got enough of progesterone, then we're much more likely to feel anxious. And so this leads to more stress, more anxiety feeling, which affects sleep. And you get into this terrible sort of cycle of you can't sleep because you're anxious, and therefore you can't sleep. There are many women who've never really experienced anxiety before perimenopause, and they suddenly start waking up in the middle of the night and thinking and worrying about really quite irrational things that aren't going to happen. We call that catastrophizing. And it really means that your brain starts working overtime, worrying about something in the future that may never happen, and hopefully won't happen. Testosterone, I haven't put it on the slide, but testosterone also has a function here, in that testosterone is also important for brain function. So that sort of clarity of thinking really is helped by testosterone. But testosterone also gives you energy. So for any of you who are using testosterone or are prescribed testosterone, make sure you're putting it on in the mornings, not at night. So you don't want your energy levels to increase before you go to bed. You want to save all that energy for the next day, for the morning. So painting a really grim picture here, and I'm sure it's something that you've experienced, this waking up at night. Some people find it difficult to go to sleep. Some people find it okay to go to sleep, but they wake up multiple times a night. And some people will just wake up, say 2 o'clock in the morning, and find it really difficult to go back to sleep, maybe awake for 1, 2, 3 hours during the night. So we all have differences with our sleep disruption. And it's about trying different things. There's trial and error here. So hopefully we can talk about what you're going to try. Maybe there's something that I'm mentioning that will help. So what can you do? Well, hormone replacement therapy has a big impact on sleep disruption. So replacing estrogen will lessen those physiological symptoms like night sweats, and that the sort of temperature regulation problems. If you're on HRT and you're still experiencing things like night sweats, then it's worth talking to your medical practitioner about the levels of estrogen. Maybe you need a slightly higher level of estrogen, because once you're on HRT, those physiological symptoms really should be very minimal now. Progesterone is sometimes prescribed in the form of a tablet, a spherical tablet called Utrogestin, and this actually has quite a sedative effect. So if you're taking Utrogestin, you take it at night, you take it in the evening, and it actually helps you to sleep. If you're finding that you're taking it earlier in the day, you might find yourself getting quite sleepy during the day. So HRT will also help with the psychological symptoms, and hopefully will lessen things like anxiety. So it's definitely worth thinking about talking to your GP or Helena and Mary from the Menopause Centre about HRT. Now, I know some people choose not to take HRT or feel they can't take HRT. So let's have a look at some other things that you can do. You need to get yourself into a good sleep routine. When I talk to people, often they say that they don't go to bed at the same time every night. It's all over the place. They've tried various things that don't work for them. But really, it's about trying to cue your body into sleep mode. So we do this with children. We bring in a sleep routine for our children very early on. So we give them something like a milky drink, and we read them a story. We maybe give them a bath. We tuck them into bed. We make them feel comfortable. Make sure they're warm enough and secure, feeling secure. But for some reason, we don't do this for ourselves. And I always find this a little bit upsetting, actually, that we don't figure ourselves worthy enough to look after ourselves and make sure that we've also got that sort of comforting environment. So the first thing that I suggest to people is to try and find a good routine. I know that going to bed at the same time every night won't fit, especially at weekends, or if you're in a shift pattern at work. It's really difficult to have that sort of definite go to bed at 10 o'clock or 10:30, the same time every night. But maybe try and do that 4 or 5 times a week. The other big thing to remember is that you go to bed for 2 reasons. One is to sleep and one is to have sex. Okay, you shouldn't be doing anything else in your bed. So you shouldn't be looking at screens, you shouldn't be on computers, you shouldn't be working from bed, you shouldn't be really looking at watching TV in bed either. So just think about what bed is for. If your partner and you are going to bed at the same time, make sure that you're tired enough to be going to bed at that time. So we are all individuals. We all get tired at different times. Make sure it's your time that you're going to bed. Make sure you're not overtired as well. So once you're overtired, maybe you're getting a bit excitable, and therefore you're going to find it more difficult to go to sleep. So try and be calm when you get into bed. There are lots of calming apps like Headspace, Insight Timer. They give lots of good sleep meditations. Now, this word meditation just means trying to be in the here and now, trying to relax and just focusing on one thing. Body scans are really good. This is where you go through each part of your body, maybe start at the feet and just try and relax your toes, relax your feet, relax your ankles, and you work your way up the body, relaxing every single part. If you imagine yourself lying down, relaxing every part of your body, and then at least you're starting, you're sort of going into sleep in a relaxed state. It's good to do some gentle exercise, perhaps late afternoon, evening, but try and avoid vigorous exercise. If you're going to the gym at 8 o'clock in the evening, then it's going to be much harder to calm yourself down. So maybe to go for a nice walk, maybe do something like yoga, Pilates, something calming. So some gentle movement. There's lots of evidence to say that magnesium is good for us to help us get to sleep. And I don't know whether any of you remember Epsom salts. You can still buy Epsom salts that you put in the bath, bath salts. And magnesium is really easily absorbed through the skin. So putting it in a bath, for example, or having it in cream form means that your body's absorbing it very, very easily, but you can also get magnesium through your diet. So things like nuts and bananas, and guess what? Dark chocolate. So we are allowed chocolate. I guess the obvious things like caffeine should be avoided. You shouldn't be drinking caffeine after about midday. Some people say even earlier than midday. So have your 3 cups of coffee in the morning, and then after lunch, make sure that you're drinking things that are not caffeinated. So even tea, some teas have got caffeine in them. You'll realize that there's a big difference if you stop drinking caffeine in the afternoons. And then alcohol is a bit of a no-no, I'm afraid. You think that alcohol, a glass of wine, will help you get to sleep, and it does. It will make you feel a little bit drowsy, but actually it upsets your sleep pattern. So your sleep cycle will get upset by alcohol, and you'll generally wake up. So I'm afraid I would say, as much as possible, for as many days during the week, try not to drink alcohol, and other recreational drugs have the same effect as alcohol. And then the final thing really is about eating snacks. So people think, oh, if I eat before I go to bed, then I'm not going to wake up hungry in the night. Well, actually, try not to do that. Try and eat your meal quite early on in the evening, and try not to eat after that. If your body's focusing on digesting food, then it can't focus on what it's meant to be doing, and that's focusing on the sleep cycle. So I'm just going to hand over to, I think Mary was going to go through these slides, which is these slides are just going to go give you some more information about the Online Menopause Centre, and then you'll come back to me and we'll have some questions.
Thank you, Mary Jane. Yeah, this slide is just to let you know that at the Online Menopause Centre, we do offer a free 15-minute discovery call. And they can be with our nurses or myself as the practice manager. And we also have a naturopath working at OMC, Dr. Vera Martins, who you can see on the slide. And she's really excellent for people who can't take HRT for any reason or would prefer not to take HRT. So the discovery calls are really a useful session to find out if you might be suitable, or if OMC might be the suitable clinic for you. So you can ask questions and share a bit of your journey so far, but we'll be able to give you advice about who would be the best person to see, or talk you through some of the typical treatments that we offer here. So yeah, if you'd like to book one of them, you can give us a call or send me an email directly with the details on the slide, and we'll be happy to help. Yeah, and this is just a bit of information about the Online Menopause Centre. I realise some of you may already be our patients, and some of you are completely new to the Online Menopause Centre. But we first launched in January 2021, and we are a CQC registered, that's the Care Quality Commission. And we were actually the UK's first CQC registered online menopause clinic. And our ethos and aim is to offer accessible, convenient and affordable menopause care. We also have a comprehensive training programme to help businesses build awareness, provide support and retain talent. As menopause has previously been a very taboo topic, and in the workplace and in all other areas it's coming into light. And women are getting the support they need and not having to suffer with so many symptoms in silence, especially in the workplace. We have a team of 5 experienced doctors and 2 nurses and a naturopath, as I've mentioned. And we have been awarded outstanding in the category of being well led by the CQC. And we've successfully treated over 1,500 patients in the last 2.5 years. So that's just a bit of a snapshot about us. But yeah, if you would like to know any more, we can definitely chat a bit further on our discovery call.
And then just a little bit more about me, really. I tend to coach women going through perimenopause and menopause, and support them in this sort of journey through this life stage. I try and get them to see that actually there are opportunities here. It might not feel like that when you're feeling pretty low and lacking in sleep, but actually it's another life stage, and we've been through lots of different life stages before. We've gone from babyhood to toddlerhood. We've changed schools a number of times. We've changed relationships a number of times. We've gone through different career changes as well, probably. So we do go through different life stages and grow through those. So I'm hoping that I help women grow through this stage in their life. So as well as the sort of psychological symptoms that I've mentioned before that you can see on the slide, one of the most common things that women come to me for is this idea of, I don't know who I am anymore. So people women seem to lose contact with knowing who they are. And this is down to a lot of things, as well as menopause. It's also down to the fact that we have lots of other things feeding in at this time in our lives. So we have caring responsibilities, we may have children, we may have young children, we may have older children who are leaving our nest. We have maybe long-term relationships or breaking down in relationships, careers. There's lots and lots of pressures on us, and we get chipped away at, I think, in our lives, and we lose who we are. So that's something that I really work on. And one thing that I'd like to point out is that it's great that you've come along to this session, because it means that you're taking some time for yourself. And I'm a real believer in self-compassion and making you believe in yourself and that you're worth something. So yeah, so if you're interested in my coaching, I coach both in organizations as well as individuals. So do contact me, and there's some contact details on the slide. So what we're going to do now, I think, is go to questions.